When James II became king in 1685, he immediately provoked conflict with Parliament. His reign unraveled quickly because of his religious policies, favoritism toward Catholics, and disregard for England's legal and political traditions. James demanded the repeal of the Test Act, which barred Catholics from holding civil and military office. When Parliament refused, he simply dissolved it. He then filled major positions in government, the army, and the royal court with Roman Catholics, openly violating the Test Act he was sworn to uphold. In 1687, James issued a sweeping Declaration of Indulgence, suspending all religious tests and permitting free worship for both Catholics and Protestant dissenters. When 7 Anglican bishops refused to have it read from their pulpits, James had them arrested and imprisoned, an action that outraged even his traditional supporters. To many Englishmen, James's policies appeared to be an assault on their traditional liberties, an effort to re-Catholicize the kingdom, and a step toward establishing an absolute monarchy. Opposition intensified in 1688, when James's second Catholic wife gave birth to a healthy son. This created the real possibility of a Catholic dynasty. Until then, many English Protestants had hoped that James, already aging, would die without a male heir, allowing the throne to pass to his elder daughter Mary, a Protestant married to William of Orange, the ruler of the Dutch Republic. The birth of the boy changed everything. Whigs and Tories, normally bitter enemies, united in opposition. Within days of the child's birth, a group of prominent Whig and Tory statesmen invited William of Orange to intervene militarily in England in order to preserve the nation's liberties, particularly the position of the Anglican Church and the authority of Parliament. Acting on this invitation, William landed at Brixham on November 5, 1688, with a force of approximately 15,000 soldiers. William publicly insisted he wished only to meet with his father-in-law and persuade him to change course. But behind the scenes, his propaganda machine worked tirelessly. William's supporters flooded England with pamphlets, newspapers, and broadsides, using these forms of print media to spread their message, rally public opinion, and build support for his intervention. These publications praised William's integrity, Protestant piety, and heroism, while also exaggerating his physical strength and bravery, ultimately portraying him as the ideal Protestant prince. Meanwhile, pamphleteers sought to undermine James II by emphasizing his authoritarian tendencies, highlighting his favoritism toward Catholics, and criticizing what they portrayed as his disregard for the laws and traditional constitutional framework of England. The propaganda was so effective that William's advance was met not with resistance, but with defections. James fled England in December 1688. He would attempt to regain power in Ireland, where he was still recognized as sovereign in July 1690, but William defeated James there at the Battle on the Boyne. The former king lived in exile in France for the rest of his life. James's flight in December 1688 led Parliament to declare the throne vacant on the grounds that he had abandoned the kingdom. Because William possessed no legitimate claim beyond conquest, he could not rule alone. Consequently, the crown was offered jointly to William and Mary as co-monarchs, but Parliament demanded conditions. William and Mary accepted the Bill of Rights, which significantly limited the powers of the monarchy, protected the civil liberties of English subjects, and ensured that Parliament would meet regularly. It also forbade the monarch from suspending laws, unilaterally and explicitly prohibited Roman Catholics from ever occupying the English throne. The Toleration Act of 1689 granted freedom of worship to Protestant dissenters, but it sharply restricted the civil rights of Catholics. They were not permitted to worship openly, were barred from bearing arms or holding public office, and were often subjected to special taxes. To secure a Protestant succession, Parliament passed the Act of Settlement, which decreed that if Queen Anne, James II's second daughter, died without surviving children, the crown would pass to the House of Hanover in Germany. Anne outlived all her children, so in 1714, the Elector of Hanover became George I, the third foreign monarch in little more than a century. He spoke no English and entrusted most governing power to his Whig ministers. Under George and his successors, Parliament's authority continued to grow, while the political power of English kings steadily declined.